Hey, what's up, guys? Got another new video for you. This is Tune in Sports. His name is Bennett.
You're Bryson.
I was just trying to throw him for a loop there. But we got another new video for you. Today we're going to be getting into some NBA stuff. And, well, I'm actually looking forward to this video because unlike pretty much my NFL team, I'm actually excited about my NBA team.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat there. My football team just lost their franchise quarterback for the year.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Woo!
Exciting news there, you know. So
praise for Joe Burrow.
Yeah. So let's get into your NBA team, though. You know, what's been going on with them? I know they made a trade for Luke Kennard.
Signed Marcus Morris to a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
And then
lost
recently
Harrell.
They lost Harrell, lost JaMychal Green. But, you know, I don't look at those two losses as huge considering we just signed Serge Ibaka to a contract. And I'm hearing that we're actually interested in signing the other Morris brother, Markieff. So, you know what? There's a lot of good that could come out of that. I think Markieff especially could really be a nice fit for the bench unit. And I would love it if we could get the two brothers on there together. I think it would be an interesting combination to see how they would run it.
Yeah, I think it would be too. You know, you got to kind of see how these pieces fit, and just, you know, what the plan is. You know, obviously as fans, we're just kind of sitting here reacting to everything that happens. But, you know, the people in ownership, you would hope at least that they have a set plan about what they're trying to do, what they want to accomplish and stuff like that. And so, you know, I really think that some pieces are starting to fall in place in terms of what this team is going to look like. I still think there's a few more pieces to move and a few more pieces to pick up, I guess, in free agency. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not done yet. But, you know, I think the way the roster is constructed right now, you know, I think there's a lot of promise. I think maybe some of the issues that they had last year will still be issues this year, the way that the roster's constructed. But, you know, I don't think that last year's performance is vindicative of what the potential was of the team. And so I honestly think even if they just said, we're going to start right here, start the way it is right now, I think that they probably would be better than last year.
Yeah, I mean, considering, to me, it's, you know, with only having, well, I mean, I guess, you know, with only having Markieff and Serge on the team right now for power forward depth, that's why I think, you know, signing Markieff would be a good move. Just because, you know, I don't think Marcus Morris is going to be like, oh, I'll go ahead and come off the bench, or Serge. I don't think either of those guys feel like they're bench players. You know, they should be starting on teams that they're on. Both of them probably feel that way. So I think Markieff, who actually came off the bench last year for the Lakers, wouldn't have as much of a problem playing that role. And that's one of the reasons why I think he would be a really nice fit on this team. So,
yeah, because, I mean, at least the way it's set up right now, I mean, what position did Morris play last year for the Clippers?
I think mainly power forward.
He was at the 4? Okay, and then you had Kawhi at the 3. Paul at the 2.
And then,
Beverly at the 1. And then, Zubats at the 5?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Harrell was coming off the bench at
Lou
the 4.
Williams off the bench, Reggie Jackson. Well, the only reason I asked that is because, you know, with Zubats in there, still on the team, but then you bring in Ibaka. Is Zubats either going to be moved or moved to the bench? Or is Ibaka going to come off the bench? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's why I'm having
I don't know
trouble understanding why, like, what the plan is. I mean, are they gonna start Serge at center? I mean, it's a possibility, but I think he's more well suited at the 4.
Well, Zubats has been involved in quite a bit of trade discussion, so there's a chance that he gets moved by the time the season starts.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying, what did the deal look like for Ibaka?
Ibaka, 2-year, $19 million, player option on the 2nd.
So you think? So I mean, you could feasibly. I mean, I don't know. Did he come off the bench for the Raptors last year?
No.
He started. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like if it came down to that, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to say, "Hey, Morris, we just signed you to a 4-year deal, but go ahead and come off the bench." I mean, I don't know if you can really do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like Ibaka would have to come off the bench between those two. But then again,
our bench unit is pretty much a starting unit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really that much of a difference, I guess. But nonetheless, I mean, I don't think Serge Ibaka is going to be like, oh, I'll come off the bench after being a starter for so many years. I don't think he's going to be okay with that role. I mean, he might if he sees the bigger picture and says, oh, we're just trying to win a championship.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he would be probably more understanding in that aspect, but same time, I don't think he feels like that's where he belongs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going to end up happening. It's difficult, because you just don't really know.
Until all the pieces
are there. But, I think that there's still a lot of good talent out there.
Yeah, Mark.
Potentially to be signed. And I think there's a lot of pieces that could be traded for that could help you out still yet too.
Yeah.
In some respects, I was kind of thinking, like, even though he just was on the Lakers, I was kind of thinking that maybe the Clippers should have tried to make an effort to get Dwight Howard, just because I think it was a mistake not getting him in there the first time, I think. And he definitely played a big role in the Lakers.
And now he's on
Atlanta. 76ers.
Yeah,
but
he's gonna be a nice fit there.
But I think he could have been a nice piece for the Lakers. I mean, for the Clippers, especially moving Zubac and then say, hey, Howard, come in here and do what you did last year, essentially.
Yeah. Be a rebounder, solid defender.
Yeah, and he came off the bench last year, right? Or did he start?
He came off the bench, actually. I think he started towards the end of the year. I don't remember, though.
Yeah, I don't think he started the whole season, though.
Yeah, I know he came off the bench.
Because I think JaVale was the starter.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's right.
So I'm just saying, hey, we're going to have you come off the bench. Well, he already did that. So I don't think he's going to be losing any sleep, saying, oh, I'll come off the bench.
I'm
Plus,
sure.
I think if he's not being relied on to stay on the court 94/7, I think you'll get more out of him when he is out there anyway. And I think that's part of the reason why last year he kind of returned to form a little bit and had one of his better seasons, is because he wasn't out there 24/7 being expected to carry a team.
Yeah, exactly. But, as far as players that we're actually interested in. I'm also hearing some noise about us trading for Terry Rozier from the Hornets. So
I don't know. I think he's a solid player, I guess. But
he's 26.
Yeah, Yeah, and I think he's solid, or at least he was solid on the Rockets.
No,
I mean, Celtics. Yeah. I don't know. I like we said in the Quip Joint video. I'm not really following the Hornets too much on what they're doing. I probably couldn't tell you too many people on the team.
But from what I saw from him in Boston, he played dang well in the playoffs.
My only question would be, how much do you have to give up to get him? I mean, if it's like a situation where you're sending over, what's his nuts, Zubats or something, and a pick or something. I mean, I don't know what the thing would look like, but I'm just saying it might include Lou Williams. You know, that might be the trade that includes Lou Williams going to the Hornets in order to get him. So I don't really know how good or bad that would be.
It just depends on how much they would have to give up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, is he going to make up for a couple of players? I don't know. I think there's other people out there that I would be more excited about being interested in than Terry Rozier, but there's worse too. So, you know, I think it could be a positive thing for him.
I mean, we were interested in bringing in Rondo, but as we all know, he signed with the Sox. I mean, with the... Why did I say Sox? But what I meant to say was Hawks.
Yeah.
So, you know, that kind of didn't go to fruition. We also were... we also were looking at, you know, Marc Gasol to play center for us, and boom, lands with the Lakers in the same building. So that sucked. But, you know, as far as point guard goes, you know, I wouldn't even be mad if they looked at kind of like a John Wall or... Yeah,
I heard John Wall was interested in being traded, but I don't know. I don't think I would... It's a little... Unless you were to give up basically nothing, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth it for him to come to Quip Joint and sit on their injured reserve. And that's basically what he did in Washington, was sit on the injured reserve list. If he was healthy, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I would almost say it'd be better to go after Derrick Rose like they were talking about before. But then again, that's another risk.
You know, the problem, though, is most of these upper-tier centers, point guards, if we're going to go after them, odds are we're not going to be able to keep Paul George in the deal. I mean, we're going to have to put Paul George in the deal. So I guess we gain a better point guard, but we also lose one of the better players on our team. Which, I guess that can be said with every trade. But, you know, especially losing Paul George, who was, you know, one of the main reasons we made the trade, which was the main reason we made the trade with the Thunder in the first place. Just trading him off after giving up so much to get him, I just don't know if that's the right move. And I feel like...
Well, that's one of the things that I was going to say, or that I said, you know, at the time, is like, I really feel like the Clippers kind of put their eggs in one basket, and I feel like they're trying to empty the basket a little bit too soon. And in doing so, I think it's could be rough for them. I mean, they gave up a ton to get Paul George down there, and they also gave up their future, really, to get Paul George and Kawhi, for that matter. Because, when you look at it, you almost kind of have to say that the trade that they made for Paul George was to get him and Kawhi.
Yeah.
But at the same time, all the pieces went to one team, which happened to be mine. So, woo! You know, yeah. But all I'm saying is they got rid of Shea, who, you know, was, I thought, going to be their future point guard. They don't have him anymore. He's now our future point guard. They could certainly
use him right now.
But, as far as point guards go, Reggie Jackson had 20, average about 20 points when he was a Piston. So if he was used correctly, I just don't think that he fits well with this team, because I don't think, first of all, that he was seeing the court enough to know his role. And above all, I just don't think he knew what his role was supposed to be, because Kawhi has to get his touches. Paul George has to get his touches. You're not going to say no to either of those guys. And then, here's Marcus Morris and some of these and Harrell and Lou Williams. I mean, I just don't think he knows where to fit in that mess.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think that was more so the problem, not his playing ability.
What?
He proved in Detroit that he can play. I mean, hell, if you don't want him, come on down to OKC. I'm telling you, that guy on OKC, he would be he could be our Dennis Schroeder. I mean, I'm serious. I'm completely serious. He could be our second Dennis Schroeder. If we were to say, hey, we're gonna have you come off the bench, or be our 2, that wouldn't be the worst thing either.
Yeah. Yeah,
or be our 1 and Shea can be the 2, kind of like they did last season.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, let's actually go ahead and hop into the Thunder. Let's start off by talking about, like he was saying before. I'll give my thoughts on the Reggie Jackson thing. I think he would be a great fit actually for the Thunder.
Yeah.
If
and he's a free agent, right? Or no?
Yeah, he is. But I haven't heard much about the Thunder being interested in him.
No, I haven't either. But I'm just saying, as far as I'm concerned, I think a lot of teams are just overlooking him because of what he did last season. But, like last season in Game 7 of the Finals, dude had 7 minutes in the game. Game 7. 7 minutes. He averaged over 20 when he was in Detroit. 7 minutes. You couldn't find more than 7 minutes to have him on the court? So I'm just saying how he was used speaks more. Yeah, how he was used speaks more, and where he was in the situation speaks more to how he played than how good he actually is. Because I guarantee you, if he was to go, if he was to go to the Thunder, he could be our next Dennis Schroeder, like I said, he could be our point guard, and Shea could play the 2 like we did last year with Chris Paul. I really think he could do just as good as he was in Detroit, and I just think we could get him too for a cheap price, because he didn't perform well with the Clippers. And again, I'm of the mindset that it had less to do with him and more to do with everything else going on and just not being able to find his role. But I would be willing to give him a contract and say, hey, come down here. And if he doesn't work out, well, hey, we're rebuilding anyway, so what the hell?
It's nice. It's nice from speaking of, contracts, they've definitely done an awful lot of moving contracts. With recently trading Steven Adams, trading Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, as well as
kind of brings us to the Reggie Jackson talk that we were just having.
As well as Terrence Ferguson is now gone. And I believe he was in the Pelicans.
Nader got traded.
Oh, Nader got traded as well. Yeah, he's gone. He's no longer going to be taking up space on our bench. And then on top of that too, Noel signed with the Knicks.
1-year deal.
Yep. And then also Andre Roberson is a free agent now.
I don't think you bring him back.
No, probably we won't. We got Dort. Why would we? And so we got him gone, as well as Noel, like I said, signed with the Knicks, and Danilo Gallinari signed a deal, 3 years, I think, with the Hawks.
So he got a damn good deal with the Hawks.
Yeah, so, our team looks completely different. And the thing that I'll say is, I've said this in a previous video, is you can argue on the point of whether we should be rebuilding or not based on how we did last year. But the fact that we said we were going to rebuild and we're doing it, I want to see them go all out. And that's exactly what they've done. And they've removed basically everybody of note except for Shea. They're basically all gone. And outside of, Noel and really Gallinari, everybody else was moved by way of trade. So that means we got something for pretty much everybody.
Yep.
And I mean, Noel, he only had a 2-year deal or whatever when he signed with us. So, and last year was the last year of his contract.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless we were to move him at the end of the season or restructure his deal, which, again, I don't think we really need to do that, then there wasn't really any way that we were going to get something for him. And same can be said for Gallinari. I mean, when we got him, same thing.
He was only had an ending year.
Yeah, he was on the last year of his contract, so unless we were to move him last season or restructure his deal, there wasn't really any way that we could have, get something for him. And I'm okay with not re-signing him because, again, we're rebuilding right now, and he's just not part of that process.
Yeah, it's nice to see this team having a clear direction and going through with it. We were actually pretty critical of actually a couple moves that the Pistons made because we felt that they were lateral.
Mm-hmm.
And with this team, you don't see that at all.
At least initially.
Most of the trades that they've made, they've either gotten draft picks or,
players
that ended up being part of trades for draft picks.
Or both. Players and draft picks.
For players and draft picks.
Yeah, no.
So this team has a clear direction, and it's nice to see them going full out on it.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, we're going to trade for some draft picks, but we're also going to trade for some solid players.
Yeah.
That, would possibly have us in the same spot that we were last year.
Yeah, and then another thing I forgot to mention is that we also traded and got Al Horford on the team, which, I was actually kind of surprised that we made that move. And I'm not entirely sure if he's going to be suiting up for us or if he's going to be the Rubio, Oubre, Danny Green, and some of these guys where they're trading for him to trade him away. And that could be, or they might have him on the team, if he suits up. I like Al Horford as a player. I don't know how he really fits in with this idea of rebuilding and getting rid of big contracts, because he had a pretty decent contract coming from Boston.
Yeah,
so I don't really know how he fits in with the plan. But, I like him as a player. I think he's good. I think if he does stay, it's not a horrible thing because he has leadership and he's been in the league and he's got playoff experience. He's been in the league for a while. Solid, great player. All-star caliber player.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to be upset if he's still on the team when the season starts. But at the same time, it kind of it doesn't make a lot of sense with where I thought we were going to bring him in. But again, we also got other things in that trade besides just him.
Yeah, if nothing else, he can be there as a role model for some of the younger players that are coming up. Because you know damn well that the Thunder got more draft picks than they can handle. They're it's pretty insane kind of what they've done with that. Pretty sure they got like 16 draft picks over the course of last season and this year. This coming season. So it's some ridiculous number like that. So, I mean, it would be probably nice to have a guy like Al Horford in there that can kind of help coach those guys up. Because he, like you said before, he has experience and lots of it. He's been in the league for some ridiculous amount of years. I don't know exactly how long he's been.
Yeah, he was on the Hawks for a long time, though, I know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, again, I'm not upset if he stays. It just is kind of like I don't really know how he fits into what they seem to be wanting to do. But it's not the worst thing. And like I said, I've always been a fan of his as a player, so it's kind of cool. Would be kind of cool to see him in a Thunder uniform.
Yeah, I mean, what you would probably ultimately like to see is if they decide to keep him. I think they should try and restructure his contract to make it a little bit more affordable. You know, I think he's getting like 3 years, $81 million.
Yeah, but he should be on the last year of his deal, I think. Right? Or no?
I don't think so. He was on he signed like some 4-year deal or something.
Oh, with the Sixers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, that's what's kind of making me question if he's actually going to be there or not. Because I don't, for me, it doesn't make sense with how much money he's being paid for him to be on this team. Not on a rebuilding team. I don't think.
Yeah, that's what I said. It doesn't really fit with what they are doing. Exactly. So that's what kind of makes me think that he's just a piece they traded for to trade for another piece. And he's going to be like Oubre and these other guys that are here for a couple days before they get traded again. But again, if he suits up, we'll see. And because they lost Steven Adams, it wouldn't be the worst thing to have an experienced guy at the center position, who can also, I'm just saying, an experienced big man that can also shoot the shot from outside. Yeah. And then I also heard, last thing before we go ahead and cap out this video, I heard that Mike Muscala
signed a contract.
No, he opted in because he had a 2-year deal with the player option in the second year, and he opted in. So he's going to be returning to the team, at least as it sits.
I don't think keeping him is a bad move. I mean,
he's a relatively young player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Has he been in the league for a while?
Mm-hmm. I think he's relatively young, and actually, he was on the Clippers for a little bit. I mean, I don't think he ever played a game, but still, I don't think he's a bad player by any means, and I think he could definitely be a good piece for a team that's trying to win.
Yeah, he could be.
Because he can shoot it.
Yeah.
And that's, in today's NBA, very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, no, I agree. A lot of moves made by the Thunder. I mean, so many that it's almost impossible to stay on top of it. Because every single day it's like, oh, okay, well, we brought in this guy, and then by tomorrow he's not on the team anymore, and it's like, oh, I didn't even realize he was on it.
Yeah,
so,
for how long this video is currently, that's about how long it could take us to talk about all the fun. I think even longer than this, it'd probably take to go through all the Thunder moves and break them down. So.
We could
probably talk for hours.
It would take about 28 minute videos to get through all the moves the Thunder have made. And yeah, exactly. So, we could spend a whole 28 hours on the Thunder and all the moves they're making, if we really wanted to get into it. But again, it's pieces to an end game, and I like what I'm seeing, at least as of right now. I like the direction that we seem to be heading in. I'm anxious for the season to start, see what we look like. We have quite a lot of new players on the team, new talent, Justin Jackson or something like that.
Yeah, he's a young player.
And some other guys that I'd never heard of. And so it's like, well, we'll see how they fit. And I really think, expectations this year shouldn't be too high, but with that being said, they weren't high last year, and look what we did. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying this team is going to be a 4 seed either. But what I will say is, I don't think it's impossible to think that this team could, much like last year, perform at a higher level than people might expect them to do. Considering the new coach, the new player this, the new that, the new piece here, new piece there, this player gone, player gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a work in progress because, you know, like they said, I mean, like we said, I mean, they're in a rebuilding stage, and they got a new coach. And that's also something that you need to take into account when, you know, predicting a record. Because who knows? I mean, this guy's new system.
Yep. Well, or it might be the same system because he just was moved up from the assistant coaching staff. So he could be wanting to do the same thing as Billy Donovan. We'll see. But anyways,
we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But you know, at least for now, that's enough talking about this team. We're eclipsed the 30-minute mark, so we don't want to keep you guys here for too much longer. This is just our thoughts on the Clippers and the Thunder and the recent moves and all that other stuff. If there's any more news that comes out, which I'm sure there will be at the rate, I mean, in the time that it's taken us to do this video, the Thunder have probably already traded Al Horford. They probably already made a few trades.
We looked on our phones and found out that he did get traded.
During the course of this video. I mean, it just seems like every day I'm waking up to a new ping of the Thunder making a move or trading somebody or
it is crazy.
Or signing somebody. So with that being said, guys, if you like the content, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, all that other fun stuff. If you enjoy the segment talking about the Clippers, make sure you go over to the Clip Joint where we talk about primarily the Clippers. They got a few podcasts over there, and Bennett runs the Clip Joint channel. And he's always uploading different Clippers news and all that stuff. So make sure you check out his content as well. With that being said, my name's Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
See you guys in the next video.
Peace.